always love to hear more about people's backstories and how they got into what they're doing. So I'd love to hear from you about when you first discovered poetry and when you first, take us back. What was your first experience with poetry and your first realization that maybe you had some talent in that regard?
I was kind of always writing my thought. If I look through my like grade 9 sketchbooks, I've always been drawing. I've always used art as a tool to express and like funnel my emotions into. I never thought that poetry would be the medium I'm most known for. But yeah, if I go through my sketchbooks, they're filled with like illustrations by hand, and in the corner, like words. And it's such a foreshadowing of like what would have come like 15 years later. But the first time I saw poets perform live was when I was in high school. I ended up at this like community event, and there were these young sick poets. They were like a decade older than me, but they were on stage and they were taught. Their poems were and their songs were about the Sikh genocide, and I just thought that was so cool and so powerful because I grew up advocating and going to protests with my parents, and like parents have like their own way of activism, and that's cool, but I'd never seen a room full of people my age be so active and so political. And so that's what really inspired me to start writing and keep performing.
And when did you decide? I mean, there's a way to go into poetry that's like a classical way, and there's the route that you took, which is more freeform and more
Yeah.
accessible. Did you make that as a conscious decision, or is that just what came from you?
It just came. I mean, I performed like at one event in Malton, and then I performed across my hometown of Brampton, and then I don't think it wasn't very good, but I just really enjoyed doing it. And there was, and then it's like when it was my community that definitely put me on first. And then the Punjabi Sikhs in like Vancouver heard about me, and then they started to fly me out. And like, then it was like one after the other. Then somebody in London was like, come here. And then I was like taken somewhere else. And like for years, I was just flying around, but I wasn't doing it to get paid. I wasn't making any money. I was doing it for free. I loved doing it, and I would have continued to do it for free. But then I remember in my like last 2 years of university, I was going to school on the weekdays, and on weekends, I was like leaving town to do gigs and stuff. Not really thinking about what it was going to become, but then universities started reaching out, like colleges, and they were like, come be a headliner here. And I was like, what? Okay, like you want to pay me to do something that I love? I'll take it. And that's, for me, it started on the stage. A lot of people don't know that because they just, think it's like the poetry just lives on Instagram. But for me, it's about the stage. And I've been lucky to keep going for like now 12-ish years.